Alrighty guys, welcome back to Star Wars Review. Today I am reviewing Star Wars Andor Season 1, Episode 8, Narkina 5, which was directed by Toby Haynes and written by B.U. Williamon. Sorry if I butchered the name, but it was released on October 26, 2022. And I thought it was another very great episode. We start to see a lot of the storylines start to come together, definitely with the ISB and Dedra Meero and whatnot. We do see her meet up with Sril Karn finally. See the ISB start to hunt down Cassian and to kind of find a lead on Luthen. They don't know who Luthen is yet, though. They just know he's a person who exists. But because of that, it also leads the ISB more towards Ferrix, and we see a lot there also. We get more of a Vel and Cynthia. They're now, waiting around for Cassian, trying to find him, which Cassian right now is in a prison, which his story probably had the least to do with everyone else, because, he's in prison and, no one else knows he's there. But, I really, really loved everything, what happened with him in this episode. He gets sent to this prison, which is on this moon called Narkina 5, which is like a labor prison where everyone has to work on these like mechanical parts, which the Empire has gamified it, and each prisoner gets assigned to a table in their own room on a certain floor, and whoever does the most work gets rewarded, and whoever does the least gets electrocuted, which when they entered the prison, they kind of made the prisoners take their shoes off because the floor is like special, and the Empire can just press a button and it'll electrify everyone, or shock, I guess, everyone. But the prisoners who do win the game, I guess, their reward is just good tasting food, which obviously isn't much. Obviously in a terrible place like they're in, it is, I guess. But when Cassian arrives, he gets told what to do by a fellow prisoner played by Andy Serkis. So that's interesting. But even though he's also a prisoner, I guess he's been able to be able to climb the ranks, and has like some more luxury in the prison, I guess. Even though everything we've seen so far, it just seems like he can just boss around the others. He has the same like sleeping area and everything else from the looks of it. So it's not really much. I believe he did say that his sentence was almost over. So I guess maybe he's been there long enough and he's able to lead the room Cassian is in. But Cassian then meets up with his table and kind of starts to learn how to do the work and whatnot. But later they head back to their cells, I guess, which are just these like little bed areas, in the floor at a certain time will become electrified, or shock. It's not like electrified, it'll just like shock you. Which later in the episode we do see a guy jump and he kills himself. So I guess if you step on it, it will kill you. But that was definitely a very shocking moment of him jumping. But the people at his table are kind of right when they first head back to the cells, they're kind of asking him if he's heard about this thing called the Public Order Resentencing Directive, or as they're calling it, PORD, which I guess they've doubled every prisoner's sentence, which Cassian, hasn't heard of it. But, it is what we saw in the last episode of the, but the Empire and the ISB, putting the law and whatnot because of Aldhani, which, even though Cassian hadn't, heard of it, it is kind of, quote unquote, his fault because he was a part of the Aldhani heist. But, some of the other prisoners are kind of blaming the rebels and whatnot for it. And, they're also just trying to find out more info and whatnot, what's going on. But this one prisoner named Melshi, who we actually see in Rogue One. He's one of the rebel soldiers who went to Scarif with Cassian. So that's neat. But Melshi tells Cassian that pretty much none of it matters. The PORD, anything like that. The Empire's just going to do what it wants and, keep them there as long as they want. It doesn't matter what's going on, with the rebels or anything like that. The Empire will just continue oppress the galaxy. But Andy Serkis's character kind of sees and hears and kind of yells at Melshi for it. But then they have to go to sleep, I guess. And then throughout the episode, we then see Cassian and his table kind of continuing to work as Cassian starts to get into the groove of things. There was one moment, kind of when they're heading back to the cells, kind of this little tunnel which has like windows and they can see out and see a bunch of other tunnels of a bunch of other prisoners. The one person at Cassian's table is kind of doing sign language to one of the other prisoners, which Cassian kind of sees and whatnot, which I assume that'll come into play in the next episodes as Cassian and the others try to escape. But we do see a bunch of the other characters also. First, the ISB, we see them come to Surreal at his work. They kind of take him in for some questioning, which we see Miro kind of interrogate him. I guess he's putting in a request for info on Cassian Andor, which he tells Miro that Cassian's a rebel murderer who needs to be found, which Miro doesn't seem to care as much about Cassian. She just wants to know more info about the report on Ferrix. She kind of asks Surreal, what wasn't in the report he signed off on, which Surreal says that he wasn't allowed to read it. He was forced to sign off on it, so they let him read it. Which while he's doing that, we see Miro in a meeting, with Yularen and all the other ISBs, kind of talking about finding Cassian, mainly just to find info on Luthen, who they don't know his identity, just know he is a person who exists and they think is kind of a leader for the rebels, but they're referring to him as Axis, which Yularen is kind of seemingly uninterested in it, but he gives her the go ahead to look into it more. But we later see Miro go back to Surreal, who's read the report, but she really only wants info on Luthen, which Surreal just doesn't have much there, for Miro. But Miro then kind of starts to send him on his way, telling him to stop looking for info on Andor, or worse will happen to him. But he seemingly just tries to get a job at the ISB, saying that he was a good deputy inspector, and that he found Andor in 2 days, so he could be of use to Miro and the ISB to find Luthen, which Miro turns him down. But we then see Mon Mothma having another party at her apartment. We see her talking to Takolma again, which it seems like they're kind of, fully in league now. But I guess kind of with the Empire's new laws and whatnot, it's a little harder for Kolma to take the money, but he's, I guess, still doing the best he can. But we then see Mothma also talking to some other senators at this party, about the new laws and whatnot, and if they are, an overreach and whatnot, which some of those senators are kind of maybe a little too rich and arrogant and just not noticing what's actually happening, in the galaxy, so they don't think of it as an overreach, just think of it as the Empire trying to keep them safe. But there's also with Mothma more moments of her family, Perrin and Lita. Definitely interested to see where that goes, because it's Perrin is just openly kind of douchey. Lita is kind of weird. I don't know what's going on there. Definitely interesting to see where that goes. But we didn't really get a lot of Mothma in this episode. I still really enjoyed the scenes with her. But we do see back on Ferrix, which we see Bix and Brasso checking up on a now sick and hurt Marva, which I guess she was at the hotel on Ferrix, which is now the like Imperial headquarters. And I guess she's trying to like find this old tunnel to see if it's still there. And I guess she said she fell and got hurt, but she was checking it because she thinks the rebels are gonna come in and sneak up on the Imperials. But Brasso and Bix kind of later talk about Cassian and wondering where he went and whatnot, which we then see Vel and Cynthia kind of looking over them, which Vel is kind of not wanting to just sit there and wait around for Cassian to come, maybe try to find another lead, but Cynthia's wanting to stay, which is what ends up happening. Vel leaves Ferrix and Cynthia kind of stays there looking over Marva's house, waiting for Cassian to come back. But you see Bix then go to Pack Ferrix, who has a comm unit to contact Luthen, and so she tries to use it to contact Luthen and maybe see if he knows where Cassian went. Which we see Clea on Coruscant listening to the message, telling Luthen about it, which Clea is saying it's too much of a risk to pick it up, and which Luthen thinks that they should, maybe because maybe Bix will give them a lead on Cassian, but obviously Bix is asking Luthen for a lead on Cassian, so Clea convinces Luthen to kind of shut down the signal and not contact Bix or Ferrix again, which we see Bix getting upset over no one picking it up, but we then see Luthen leave Coruscant, and he heads to a planet called Segra Milo, where he meets up with Saw Gerrera, which Luthen's trying to sell him some equipment, which Luthen tells Saw that he can have the equipment for free if he does a job with this guy named Anton Krieger. But Saw doesn't want to work with him. It seems like Krieger was a separatist, and Saw doesn't want to work with a separatist. And it seems like Saw doesn't really want to work with anyone, which Luthen is trying to convince Saw that they need to start to work together to be able to fight the Empire because of this job Luthen wants Saw to do with Krieger. Neither of them will be able to do it themselves, but if they work together, they can. But Luthen isn't able to convince Saw, and Luthen said to Saw that he can only have the equipment if he does the job. So Luthen, doesn't give Saw the equipment. But we see back on Ferrix, in the morning, Bix is kind of heading out, and she learns that the Imperials came for Pack. Everyone's kind of gathered around and whatnot, and the one Imperial notices Bix, and they start to go after her, and so she tries to run away, but they catch her and then take her to the Imperial headquarters, which she sees what they did to Pack, but Miro is now there, and so Miro starts to interrogate Bix. So yeah, but like I said, I thought it was another great episode. Another one without, really any actions, slower and whatnot, but I felt like it was the best out of any of those episodes so far. In fact, I thought it was just one of the best of the season so far. I just liked how everything started to come together and whatnot. Seeing all these storylines that have been going on for the last 7 episodes started to become one, I guess. Mainly with, the ISB and Ferrix and Luthen also. Hasn't for Cassian just yet, but the prison stuff I was really into. The discuss the series as a whole. And it felt like, it's shown the oppression of the Empire better than any previous Star Wars story yet. And the prison is just, more of that. Kind of showing the Empire in a just more downright, scary, evil way, more so than any other, previous Star Wars story. And with that, the prison, one thing I liked was seeing how some of the prisoners, even though they're in that situation, but because of, the oppression of the Empire, it's the Empire's fault. But but because the Empire has kind of gamified everything they do, kind of, maybe are more mad at their other prisoners and also mad at the, rebels and whatnot. So, it's interesting seeing them get mad at the people who are, aren't at fault for, the situation they're in. So I'm definitely interested to see how that grows in the next, episodes. But, once again, enjoyed all the scenes with Mon Mothma. Wasn't a whole lot in this episode, but still enjoyed it. The scene with Luthen and Saw was great also. I just really, really enjoyed everything about this episode. One of my favorites of the season so far. But my grade, I'm going to give it an A+. So yeah. But that's going to be it for this review. Next week, I'll have a review for episode 9, which you can check out then. But in the meantime, you can check out my reviews on the first 7 episodes of Andor. Also, the same day that this episode came out, a new animated anthology Star Wars series came out, Tales of the Jedi. You can check out my full review of that. I'll be doing more reviews for that series, individual episodes, later this weekend and into the next week. But, yeah. Anyways, that's going to be it for this one. I've been Stars, I'll catch you guys in the next one.
What cost?
Everything!
Every day we wait, they get stronger.
Let's take them by surprise.
For the greater good, call it what you will. Let's call it war.